You have exactly 3 seconds to like and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, I'll appear in your dreams tonight. To ask for a donation for that cup of coffee, link below.
2025. You and the whole country erupted in joy as Nguyen Hai Long's long-range shot slowly rolled into the net against Thailand. That goal sealed the 2024, securing the championship title for Vietnam, right on the Raja Mangala Stadium pitch. As if by instant, without warning, the roadside table blended into the endless stream of people celebrating the storm, stretching from north to south. Red flags and cheers filled the morning air. All of this resulted in a sleepless night. But deep down, that joy seemed to be multiplied many times over, cheering, because the defeated opponent was Thailand. And it's not just in football. Vietnamese people often compare Thailand to Thailand in many other areas as well. From the economy and tourism to daily life, that nameless messenger appeared quite naturally. So why has Thailand become such a familiar benchmark in the minds of Vietnamese people? Let's take a look at a map of mainland Southeast Asia. Vietnam appears as an S-shaped strip of land on its eastern edge, with its territory extending far out into the East Sea. Meanwhile, Thailand is situated near the western center of the entire landmass. If you look closely, those two positions form the two ends of a dozen natural on the Indochina Peninsula. Not only their geographical location, but also their natural conditions are extremely favorable. Vietnam has two large deltas, the Red River Delta and the Mekong Delta, located at opposite ends of the country. Thailand, on the other hand, has a counterweight in the Trao Phraya River Delta system and the Mekong River Basin. Combined with a monsoon climate, these regions became a driving force for the Thai and Vietnamese peoples to thrive in terms of population, and as the populations of both ethnic groups, the need to expand residential space also became increasingly urgent. It is here that the first sinkholes begin to appear. Throughout centuries of development, the expansion of the two countries has inadvertently converged at the same point. For the Vietnamese, it was a process of southward expansion, while simultaneously seeking to cross the Truong Son mountain range to reach the west. As for Thai turmeric, the trend is to expand northward and eastward along the Mekong River Basin. These two movements eventually converged in the central region of Laos and Cambodia. From this point on, conflicts over influence and control became almost they began around the through their southward expansion. The Nguyen rulers gradually became neighbors and even related through marriage to the Tran Lac government. From that base, the territory of how the country continued to expand southward all the way to the southernmost tip of Vietnam. This is seen as an encroachment on their traditional sphere of influence, because since after conquering the capital of Angkor, the Thai kingdoms had established their dominance over the Khmer people for nearly. With the increasing and deep presence of the Nguyen rulers, the Thai side was forced to react in order to maintain its influence. Both entered a prolonged period of conflict through continuous interference in the internal affairs of Khmer. The first such intervention appeared in the latter half of the 17th century. The Khmer Chetha IV, or Nak, repeatedly sought to wage war against the Khmer. However, after two failures he was forced to surrender and accept allegiance to Lord Nguyen Phuc Chu. This money quickly alarmed the Ayutthaya kingdom, Thailand, forcing them to mobilize troops to counter it. Then, in 1705, the Vietnamese and Siamese peoples fought their first decisive battle at Sam Kien Tran Lac. From then on, the two sides repeatedly clashed on the battlefield, including battles that have become classics, such as the Battle of Rachgam Zoai. But the Tay Son army wiped out 50,000 Siamese troops in just the night of May 19th and the early morning of May 20th, 1780. This victory terrified Bangkok to such an extent that even the official history of the Nguyen dynasty knew about it. although they boasted outwardly. Inwardly they were terrified of Nguyen Hue, like they were afraid of a stake. Following the Nguyen dynasty, after an initial 30 years of relative peace, the struggle for influence in Cambodia's Che Lop pushed the two countries into in 1884. This culminated in the Great War from 1841 to 1845, spanning the entire area from Cambodia to southern Vietnam. Towards the end of the 19th century, with the French invasion of Viet Nam, Thailand was forced to adjust its relations with Western powers to protect its country. Thailand's relative independence, while Vietnam became a French colony, led to a lull until the century. In 1941, war broke out between French and further turning Cambodia and Laos into contested territories. The covert war serves as a reminder that even under colonial, the East-West rivalry in mainland Southeast Asia always persisted. Thailand had become an important ally of the United States in the invasion of Vietnam. Not only did Bangkok allow the U.S. to build bases on its territory, but it also sent troops to fight in the south. Around the same time, Thailand directly intervened in the situation of Lao music, from providing weapons and bases. The conflict gradually escalated to a climax with the infamous Battle of Dom Chum in 1970, and throughout the 1980s when the Vietnamese army was present in Cambodia. The Thai-Cambodian-Lao border became a flashpoint of conflict between the two sides. Even in modern times, the two nations have repeatedly found themselves in a state of confrontation. These enduring experiences transformed into expressions that bound the two countries to become two rival musical powers in mainland Southeast Asia. But the gunfire eventually had to subside, entering the 90s. After the collapse of the First World Economic Group, the trend of detente and cooperation gradually became the main current of the world. Southeast Asia is no exception to that principle. After numerous diplomatic efforts, on May 28, 1990, Vietnam officially joined. But that doesn't mean the rivalry between Vietnam and Thailand has stopped. It simply shifted to music, from the realm of guns and bullets to the development of national strength. On this track, Vietnam and Thailand have become a very natural musical pairing in the region due to their many similarities. Both companies had many similar starting points in 1995. The combined populations of the two countries at that time were nearly 72 million and over 59 million people, respectively. The second, fourth roads in the area. The annual population growth rates are 7% and 1, respectively. The literacy rate of the population in both countries is comparable, with over 90% of adults being literate. In both countries possess a large population with a good basic education level. Well, for the 21st century, from an economic perspective, Vietnam and Thailand also share many similarities. Both systems share a foundation of water, draining farming, which plays a central role in their agricultural production structure. In addition, there is potential for industrial development thanks to the large amount of available land, readily available raw materials, and a large, inexpensive labor force. Moreover, both countries possess advantages for developing service industries, such as tourism, transportation, and regional trade. However, if they were merely similar, the comparison wouldn't have dragged on for so long. What makes this story special is that, despite their shared economic standing, the development landscapes of the two countries in 1995 were fine. The reasons for this difference lie in historical choices and development policies. Thailand's greatest advantage stems from its historical strategic choices. Music. Following the Anglo-Shah Treaty of 1909, the country gradually established itself as a neutral nation in the region. As a result, for much of the 20th century, Thailand avoided becoming a direct battleground in. This gives them a long period of time to accumulate and develop their inner strength. At the same time, Bangkok quickly became an integral part of the global economic network. All these words helped them gradually transform themselves. Similar in. At the beginning of the 20th century, the gold-producing nation rose to become a major production and export center of the world. Their main products are rice, tropical fruit, and precious timber. Between the 1960s, multiple waves of American military presence and FDI created significant boosts for the housing and service sectors. These have become the foundations upon which the region has developed its tourism, industrial production, and electronics industries as we know them. Today, All these factors meant that, by 1995, Vietnam had fallen, far behind Thailand. For example, in terms of economic scale, GDP in was 3 to 6, 4 times larger than Vietnam's, depending on the calculation. Their average per capita income is also 3 to 7. Sire. In addition, tastes have also switched to Vietnamese people in many other fields, as they are the country that has hosted the most SEA Games and Asian Games, with and 4 editions respectively. Universities like Chulalongkorn and Tamas have already become leading centers in the region. There are still gaps in areas such as tourism, culture, entertainment, and technology. Vietnam was still fighting for independence and national reunification until nearly the 20th century, although starting later. Hanoi at that time was by no means lacking in potential for breakthroughs after the war. Market with many untapped opportunities, opening up a wide range of avenues for investment capital to explore. Along with that is an external policy with an open and proactive spirit of integration with the world, and most importantly, a foundation of diligent and disciplined population mindset was formed through the many upheavals of the 20th century, due to their similarities in nature, but differences in achievements. Vietnam and Thailand have become a default point of comparison. At a deeper level, this needs to be a very natural mechanism. Find someone close to you to reflect upon and define yourself. But life is unpredictable, and Thailand can't keep up with Vietnam forever. To create detailed content for videos like these, CD Media frequently consults international sources. If you also want to access that vast source of knowledge in the most convenient way, get acquainted with our helper today. Audible's world's largest licensed audiobook library from Amazon, giving you early access to original knowledge and the greatest works on the subject. Horrible lets you read anytime, even when you're busy, with incredibly immersive cinematic sound quality. Specifically, register via the link exclusively for CD Media audience members to receive a free month of access along with a. And then, in just over 3 decades, the gap between Vietnam and Thailand has gradually narrowed. In terms of economic scale, by 2025, Thailand's GDP to 15 times larger than Vietnam. Thailand's GDP per capita is only 5 to 1, 7 times higher than Vietnam's. Furthermore, the two have become fierce rivals in attracting foreign investment. The most recent example is the competition to bring Nvidia's factories back to the country, which has generated considerable media attention. And then the moment Prime Minister Pham Minh, Chain Music and CE Jensen Hong went for a beer together marked a decisive victory for Hanoi. In other words, from being a backward country, Vietnam has gradually risen to stand on the same level of development as Thailand. In agriculture, Vietnam surpassed Thailand and many other major players to become the top rice exporter in 1999. Since then, the two countries have continuously competed for this top position in both quality and quantity. Confrontations between two teams always involve a clear winner and loser, not only in terms of achievements but also in terms of status. In terms of military power, both countries consistently rank among the strongest in the region. According to the latest announcement from Global Fire Power in Earth, Vietnam and Thailand rank 23rd and 24th respectively in the world in terms of fire resistance. Considering all of Southeast Asia, these two countries are second only to Indonesia. So what led to Vietnam gradually catching up with Thailand in the first half of the 21st century? In addition to the achievements from reform and international integration, and political stability has become a crucial factor. Meanwhile, at the same time, Thailand facing a series of major upheavals in many aspects. The first major setback was the 1999 Sanail crisis. Following this setback, Thailand's economic growth gradually slowed down, following the pattern of a country falling into the middle income trap. Furthermore, in the year 1990, 2009, and 2020, Bangkok experienced negative growth. Next came the chaotic political situation, with crisis protests, especially the two coups in 2000. Following this, the Bangkok government had to change prime ministers 10 times in about 20 years. These fluctuations have resulted in a lack of continuity in Thai policies, impacting investor confidence and long-term growth. And that's not all. Queen passed away. He was one of the architects who helped Thailand rise in the latter half of the 20th His passing immediately sent the country into turmoil. Crown Prince Mahavajir. Long is the heir apparent to the throne. But there are rumors about his character and doubts about his governing abilities. This sparked anti-royalist protests that continue to this day. The military security front continues to add another somber tone to the Golden Pagoda's landscape. Thailand is currently in a position where it has to face an enemy head-on the eastern border. Conflict with neighboring Cambodia in 2025 has inflicted heavy losses on Bangkok. According to writers, after only the first 5 days of fighting, the damage had exceeded 10 billion baht, equivalent to approximately 307 million Vietnamese dong. Related economic activities, such as border trade, tourism, and local production have all come to a standstill. In particular, approximately 1.2 Cambodian workers were affected, with the majority having returned home, causing a labor shortage. In addition, between 1,000 people had to be screened, adding further pressure on the social welfare system for the Thai government. All of these factors have directly contributed to Thailand's GDP growth in 25 being only 2%, compared to writers' forecast over 3%. In the far south, the war against the Islamic insurgency, which remains ongoing with no end in sight. In recent years, several regional events have also clearly shown the increasing pressure to maintain the top position. The challenges that Thailand is currently facing at the third CA game, which they hosted, have become a prime example. A conflict early on when the Cambodian team withdrew from the competition at the last minute to protest the ongoing conflict between the two countries. This was followed by a series of incidents during the opening ceremony and matches with controversial referee decisions. All of this has made it the most controversial SEA Games. The combination of these factors has resulted in Thailand's development over the past 30 years being highly volatile. Meanwhile, at the same time, Vietnam has consistently shown very steady growth indicators. The combination of one side accelerating and the other slowing down has led to a narrowing gap between national classes. A historical dilemma regarding who would lead mainland Southeast Asia has resulted in Vietnam and Thailand becoming rivals for nearly 400 years. Thanks to a long period of peace, Thailand had a superior foundation. But after more than 3 years of rapid development, Vietnam has gradually caught up in many aspects. This makes the Vietnam-Thailand story not just a comparison of soup, but also a journey of two nations that involve both cooperation and competition, and a shared vision as they move forward together on the path to the future.